guys, it's Megan here, the faithful fibromyalgia warrior. I hope you're all doing well. I am doing very well. So you might be seeing this sort of lighting glow from off to the side. It's sort of sunny, overcast, kind of cool outdoors. But I just realized it's an amazing day today. So what's been up? It's been kind of one of those odd weeks. You ever have a week where, I don't know, it just feels like you're kind of going, ugh, like you feel kind of flat, right? Like ginger ale without the fizz, or I guess any soda without the fizz. And, you know, those moments can happen, yet, you know, it's not necessarily serious, but I don't know, it's really hard to come out of. And it's not because of any particular thing. You know, nothing really bad has happened. In fact, a lot of good has happened. And yet I was feeling kind of meh for this last little bit. Now, what I had to realize today was that that's probably just Satan trying to get me distracted and get me discouraged. Why? Because he does not want me to remember all of the amazing things God has done in my life. You know, I have been trying to learn a bit of Ukrainian. I'm not as far along as I would like to be. You know, I'm fluent in French, so somehow I thought, well, I'm learning another language, surely that will be easy. Well, yeah, except that totally different alphabet, totally different grammar structure, completely different, you know, words and pronunciations. And I'm learning, and I can say certain words pretty well, but I realize I can't just expect to, you know, do some little exercises on Duolingo, which is the app I've been using, and be able to understand my two friends who are Ukrainian when they speak quickly. That's unrealistic. You know, they're taking like actual official English classes while they're here in the UK, as well as doing homework, and once a week we each practice. So they practice English with me, and I practice a little bit of Ukrainian with them, and a lot of Google Translate. But that doesn't mean it won't happen, and that doesn't mean I won't get there. I forgot that actually I started to learn French when I was 5, when I was in kindergarten in Canada. And of course, that's pretty normal because it's the other, you know, Canada has, if you didn't know, Canada has 2 official languages, English and French. Or if you were in Quebec, it's French first and then English. Okay, but those are the 2 official languages of the country. So of course I would have learned to speak it at a very young age. Well, how unrealistic of me to decide, oh, I answered the little exercises with the app, and if I have time and I, you know, you can slow down. There's ones where it says, type out what you hear, right? And you can slow the voice down so you can start to recognize the words. Right, well, in actual Ukrainian, people don't speak like that. Nobody does. And woe to me, oh, what I should not have been surprised, but I was when I went, that they speak too fast. I need more practice. Well, that's normal. I'd only been trying to learn it for 2 months. And I expect to be an expert? Ridiculous. You know, that's crazy and silly. And I realized, wow, there are some people, you know, we have a friend who can speak 6 different languages. He's Egyptian. He's lived here now for a while. He's staying with us temporarily as he looks for his own place. really lovely guy, and he can speak Russian and, of course, Arabic and English, and I think French, I believe Italian, and I think Spanish was the other one. I'd have to check with him. But some people do have a gift for languages. That's brilliant. And I developed a skill for French because I learned it very young. I'm now trying to learn a brand new language with a brand new alphabet, different sounds, all of that. And I'm trying to be an expert in 2 months. No wonder I was feeling frustrated with it. That's unrealistic, right? And that was part of my feeling. Also, I have been having such incredible healing by being carnivore. And as much as I've made improvements, I was frustrated because I'm not fully there. I don't feel 100% recovered yet. It doesn't seem to be, I don't seem to be healing as quick as I feel like I should be. And yet, it's not up to me. When I suffered the spinal disc injury 9 years ago, I thought that was it. I'm done. When it set off fibromyalgia, and that ended up leading to me developing a hypothyroidism and high cholesterol and super high triglycerides and all kinds of other issues. Well, I just figured, that's it. That's me now. I will always be disabled. I will never be able to walk anywhere again. I will always need crutches. I will always need a commode. I will always need to sit in a swivel bath seat in order to get my hair washed and my body clean. I spent 2 years where I had a personal care person in my home every morning to help me wash my hair and get dressed because I couldn't do it myself because of the pain. Without having a single clue that my diet was playing a huge part of it. I was so afraid of thinking about food in any way, right? Of dealing with anything to do with healthy eating or focusing on diet or any kind of weight loss, because with 30 odd years plus of being bulimic, of severe restrictions and then binges, I was not in a place mentally where I could do that. And a big part of that was because for a long time I was not in a good place spiritually, and I was not in a good place emotionally. And to me personally, when I say spiritually, that to me encompasses everything, okay? Spiritually includes your emotion, where you are at with your emotions, outside of, not just where you are at with faith, but where are you at with your emotions? And how are you feeling in spite of emotions? And how can you deal with things like anxiety and depression if you have got a very, very, very small amount of faith? Like my faith was probably the size of half a mustard seed. That's where it was at. It didn't help the fact I was inflamed. I was overweight. Throughout my whole time of being unable to move because of my injury and then my fibromyalgia, couldn't exercise. I wasn't even willing to try because I was so afraid I'd hurt myself. And so I was already overweight, okay? You see any photos of me from 2014 up to 2020, the summer of 2020, and my face is bloated. And I'm carrying at least somewhere between 40 and 60 pounds too much weight. And that would kind of fluctuate. By the summer of 2020, I was obese officially. I was, I think about 210 pounds by the time we were in when we came out of the first lockdown here in England, which would have been end of May. And I thought that was just because I was stuck, because I knew by that time they finally said, yes, you have an underactive thyroid and your triglycerides are too high and something's got to change. Okay? Nobody said to me, Oh yeah, it's because of all the plants you're eating in the form of vegetables and especially fruit. Here I was thinking fruit was so good for me because it's fructose. It's not sucrose or glucose, therefore it's okay. No, it was the high levels of fruit on top of eating things like oatmeal, toast with peanut butter and banana slices or with peanut butter and jam. Those things, with all the fruit I was eating, is what killed me as far as my triglycerides were concerned. So anyone who says fruit is okay and don't worry about it and honey's fine, no, 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 no. Not true at all. Absolutely not. In fact, those things were the key reasons as to how I ended up with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and how I ended up at 210 pounds, okay, which is way too much for me. I'm 5 foot 5 inches. I wasn't even that heavy when I was pregnant with either my first or my second child. My second pregnancy, I did put on a bit more weight, which is quite normal. Anybody who's been a mom more than once, you know that the second pregnancy or any subsequent pregnancy, you tend to put on that much more weight because your body remembers and it's like, oh, hold on to this, we're growing a human. So I was about 190 pounds when I was pregnant with my second child, okay? And just a little under that when I was pregnant with my first child. I mean, they're not children now, they're young adults, they're both grown men. One is 22, the other is going to be 20 in June, almost a month away, a month and a bit away. Anyways, I'm off topic, sorry about that. The point being is I felt horrible, awful, terrible, and it didn't matter if I was taking laxatives every day to help with, say, my constipation. I also had a bit of leaky gut issues, so what I was eating, I wasn't absorbing properly. So I was getting almost no nutrition out of the things I was eating. And what I was eating was actually really bad for me. So come May, when I literally was looking almost 6 months pregnant, because that's how bloated I was, that's how much weight I'd put on, not just water weight. I know there was a significant amount of fat that went on there as well. Okay. And I felt hopeless. And I at my sister-in-law's recommendation, my husband and I decided to try a protocol for to reverse Hashimoto's, and it was paleo. Okay, so nuts, leafy greens, a lot of vegetables, some fruit, and gradually you kind of worked your way up to things like eggs and avocado. And I felt worse and worse and worse. And I felt awful all the time. My sleep was crap. I didn't sleep well through the night. I was constantly interrupted. And it was terrible. Sorry about that. I have a call that I was getting. Anyway, so I felt awful. I will really try to dig into this, but I had to remember where I came from. When I found keto, and it was the spirit whispering and moving, telling me to think about trying keto. And even once I started keto, I really quickly realized I don't need the plants, right? I didn't. And when I went zero carb, when I cut out all the plants, almost zero carb. I do drink a couple of cups of coffee a day. One of them will sometimes be a cappuccino with no chocolate, often no chocolate on top. Sometimes a light sprinkling of just a very light dusting of chocolate, but usually without. And otherwise I drink black coffee. Okay, so I will admit right now, that I am like 98% compliant as far as carnivore or zero carb. But when I got as close to zero carb as I possibly could, that's when I saw the magic start to happen. Okay? I started to get rid of all the water weight. I started to lose the body weight. So overall, outside of, the body fat and the water weight was started to just come right off me. And once I went zero carb initially, back in the fall of 2020, probably even end of August, so mid-August, end of August, that's what I decided to do. Because I realized that plants were not good for me at all. Some people do all right with some plants. I don't. I do not tolerate them at all. They aggravate me. They upset my gut. They cause my IBS to flare up. And they're not required. So I don't eat them. And I'm happy. I don't crave them. I don't want them. I'm fine. Right? But what I realized is when I started to give that up, I started to notice some healing. And the first thing I noticed was my brain fog started to lift. And I got my brain back. And as I've shared in other videos, it's been amazing. Why? Because I found suddenly I had the capacity to want to read my Bible, to want to spend time having long times of praying and meditating and walking with God. Because once the weight started to come off, my initial fears were, oh my gosh, if I eat anything, I'm going to get fat again. And so that bulimic, binge purge, body image, negativity reflex started to pop up again. And I knew I couldn't deal with it by myself. And I didn't want to go down that road again. I wanted recovery. And so for me, I had to start with diet, followed by my faith and my relationship with God. And that's what's gotten me through. That's what's helped me gradually over the past 3 years really start to deal with my anxiety and anxious thoughts, to really deal with times where I used to feel greatly depressed. Now I might have a day here or there where it's kind of, whatever, I'm bored, I don't know what I want to watch, I don't know what I feel like doing, that type of feeling. Which, by the way, you can be the most joyful, thankful, grateful Christian and still feel those things. It doesn't mean you don't ever feel them. It doesn't mean I don't ever feel moments of anger at people or situations. But I'm realizing they're just feelings. And when I remember to lean on God and turn to Him, wow, how incredible that is. What a absolute joy and blessing. You know, I have been wanting to share my excitement with all of these great improvements and changes and ways that I've felt different and great and incredible. And part of me would get excited, and then I'd think, who cares? What if only 2 or 3 people watch? So what? So what? That's 2 or 3 people that might be helped. And I had to remind myself why I do this. I do this because I am grateful to God for all the improvements in my life. And I have so much thankfulness for the people who have inspired me out in the YouTube world. How selfish would I be if I kept it to myself? That doesn't feel right to me. You know what? This is what's helped me and worked for me. At one point, 3 years ago, I had to wear wrist braces all the time because I was constantly having pain in my sort of thumb, bone, joint areas. I don't know whatever, wrists. Why? Because I have osteoarthritis there. And it was always flared up. And I also moved on to compression gloves all the time, which you'll notice in some of my previous videos. I've not needed the wrist braces now for a couple of years, and I've not worn compression gloves now for several months. I never need a crutch anymore. at all. I make a point of never taking it with me because I want to be able to practice just getting a bit of exercise and walking around. So the last couple of months when we've gone to meet people in person for church, I've been able to walk from where we park the car around the corner of the building and into the hall where we meet without my wheelchair. I just bring along a nice soft sort of cushion, one you design, one for people who have injured their tailbones. And I sit on that and I feel great. And I'm able to get up and walk, maybe 5 meters to where the bathrooms are at the back of the hall. Our church rents space at a high school on a Sunday. And so when we do that, I don't need any assistance, which is amazing. I am almost completely off gabapentin. I'm down from 2,100 milligrams a day to 600 milligrams a day. I no longer take baclofen as a muscle relaxant for my SI joint. I've been off that for over a year. I'm no longer on any statins of any kind. I'm down my cocodamol intake, which is paracetamol with codeine, or basically equal to Tylenol 3 with codeine. I was taking 8 of those tablets per day. Now each tablet is 30 milligrams of codeine and 500 milligrams paracetamol / Tylenol. And I would take 8 of those a day. Now I'm down to 6 of them a day. So 2 of them 3 times a day. And I'm reducing it even further. And I've been able to do resistance training with a band, just with some simple squats and wall sits and just some things to strengthen my core. I have flexibility that I never thought I would get back, ever. Am I walking into town? We're only a half a mile from town. Am I walking yet? No. But I hope to. I only take my electric wheelchair now if I'm going out somewhere. I'm not quite at the place where I can walk that kind of distance, but I'm working up to it. So for me, all these amazing things have been happening, and I've been feeling better and better and better every day. My rosacea is almost completely gone. My eyebrows have fully grown back in. My eyelashes don't fall out anymore. And some might say, well, yes, but I've been on thyroid medication. Yeah, but I started the thyroid medication on March 20th of 2020. And I did not notice the changes really start until 6 months ago. And after I'd been carnivore or meat-based, almost zero carb, for over 2 years. So it's been the diet that's made the difference. My hair, other than it gets a bit frizzy, if I over dry it. My gray, I don't have any gray in my hair any longer. Like, this is all actually my color. There was a time where I had to add this blonde to my hair because all of my hair on my head was gray. See, I'm serious. Pictures of me from, say, 4 or 5 years ago, I had it short, I permed it, a bit of a poodle look. My hair was gray almost everywhere. And not a word of a lie, my natural, normal, pre-gray hair color is all this. This is not dyed in any way. I've not added color to my hair in over a year. Actually, a year and a half. And so the fact that my hair has gone back to its normal pre-gray color, wow. I thought I was going to have to dye my hair forever. Now, if it goes gray eventually, because, the hormones change with menopause and all that, fine, fair enough. Doesn't bother me. But I can't believe that actually happened. But it did. Now, is that water into wine? No. But it's pretty miraculous to me. Every time we've been at church in the past couple of months, I've been able to stand up and join in with the singing instead of having to sit all the time. Do I stand up always? No. Do I stand up for most of the songs? Yes. And it feels amazing. And even now, when I sit at home, when I sit on our sofa, I just sit up straight with the footrest down. We have lazy boy sofas. I keep the footrest down. I don't have to have my legs up. I don't, I don't have to sit with them elevated all the time. And I never thought that would happen. I thought having the spinal injury and then developing fibromyalgia, that was it for me. That was it. Life was done. And I would always just have this. And yet, that's not true. Now, as much as I wish that the healing would have happened sooner, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready at that point. I wasn't willing to accept that I could get better. I was not willing to accept that, in fact, just by eating a nutritious, satiating way, which is animal meats and eggs and also some butter, that basically what I eat, mainly beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. That's it. And it's not like all these changes happen all at once, like one day. They took time, and they happened over time, but they have been happening. And I have more muscle strength, but also tone. I'm also building muscle. I can see it, in my legs and the front and back of my thighs, and my butt. It's not like flat and flabby, which has never been the case for me before. There's muscles there. How do I know? Because my weight's gone down. But my stuff's, it curves where they ought to be, I suppose is the way to look at it, as many would describe. But it's amazing. It's fantastic, incredible, motivating, because it's all from God. God is the healer. But he uses animal products as medicine. And some people out there might be like, well, that can't be right. No, it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. I never, ever, ever thought for even half a second that I could ever come off of statins, my baclofen for my back, or even cut back on my gabapentin. Now, please hear me, very, very gradually, and only because the healing ramped up over the past couple of months, doing things like always eating breakfast and always eating before coffee. Coffee is after food, as like a dessert, okay? When I do that, nourishment gets into me. When I would start every single day with just coffee, got upset and not getting enough and under eating, and I've swapped that out. I've switched that up. And that's made a huge difference to the current rapid improvement of where I'm at with my pain and illness and so forth. Am I going to join a gym and start jogging? No. By the way, it's really not great for your knees or back anyway, so I would definitely avoid it regardless. But because I'm at a risk of potentially having another disc go out, I wouldn't pick up jogging or running anyways. But the resistance training, doing stretches and just squats and things like that to the point of exhaustion, wow, I feel amazing. And I never thought I'd even be able to get to that point. Never mind be there now. And I feel incredible. Two people who have inspired me greatly, Professor Bart Kay, who himself has reversed his fibromyalgia and a lot that went into that. And of course, Rebecca Heichman, Tailored Keto Health, a great woman of faith as well, a very devoted Christian who herself has had great healing and recovered from not just fibromyalgia, but chronic Lyme disease and C. diff infections and all sorts of other autoimmune conditions by eating meat-based. animal-based. Okay, so for me, it's, like I said, it's bacon, beef, butter, and eggs. Often the yolks, but sometimes full eggs too. And that has made all the difference. All that deliciousness, that delicious fatty mixes of protein and just everything, the building blocks my body needed to strengthen muscle, to repair, you know, after I've done my exercises. And, you know, I don't do these stretches every day. I do them, I usually have a day or sometimes two in between when I work out. Why? Because I don't want to overdo it. Because even though the pain has dramatically come down, and I've been able to cut back on my pain meds like majorly, which is amazing and incredible and freeing, I still have some pain. And I don't want to overdo it. Because what would be the point of all this great progress if I overdo it and then I send myself back to where I once was? I don't want to do that to myself. Okay? And our bodies need time to repair and heal. That's what it does at night. That's what it's supposed to do at night. But if we are constantly working it out and it never gets a chance to really rest and heal, we're just going to be sore and we're not going to be doing ourselves any good. Right? So, I'm sharing all this because I am hoping that this might help some of you out there. Look, I haven't touched my antidepressant medication, okay, as far as coming off of it. That's probably going to be the last thing that I deal with. If I can ease myself off the pain medication, then I think that's going to help me get to a place where maybe I can come off the antidepressants if I don't need them. You know, and not because life isn't at times challenging. You know, we don't have perfect lives. We have our challenges. Everyone does, you know. But what I'm realizing is that for me, I'm entering a season where I don't think I need them as much. And that's great. Now, some people do need them and maybe need them all forever, right? If you deal with severe, like if, say, for example, you're bipolar or schizophrenic or you have issues to that extreme, then please, if you've been given medication, please take it. Please take it. I know for a fact that the right nutrition, bacon, beef, butter, and eggs, can actually do so much to heal the body. It truly, truly can. I know that there will be a day where I will be able to walk freely, longer even than the half mile to get into town. I will even be able to walk whilst carrying a light bag of groceries, perhaps, without doing myself undue injury. I'm not there yet, but that's the place I want to get to. And I know that God's pointing me in the right direction. And I also realize it's not strictly linear. I will have down times when I'm a bit more achy and sore, and up times. But I wanted to share this with you guys because I have been at the other end. I have been at the point where I've been severely depressed, severely anxious, trapped in the cycle of bulimia and disordered eating, trapped in the frustration of, why am I putting on weight? I hardly eat anything. I'm eating healthy, you know, fruits and toast and peanut butter and all those things that we're told are good for us, that, as it turns out, certainly in my case, not at all, okay? And I think for most people, not at all. And all those feelings of, well, I can't work out and I can't get to the gym and I can't do this and I can't lift weights. You know what? That's okay. Truly, you can see a major difference just in changing what you eat, as far as if you need to get rid of body fat and any water weight you're holding on to. But what I have found is that the best healing, just a second, please.
Yeah, you might need to look at Billy.
Yeah, I will in a sec, buddy. Just shut the door. I'm just finishing a video. The absolute best thing to do once you get to that point is, as you start to have less weight on you, you can start to do simple stretches. I never thought I would be able to. And yet here I am doing it 2 or 3 times a week. So I don't know. If I can get there, then I think it's possible anybody could probably get there. And through all of that, God, the creator, the healer, the physician, looking after each and every one of us, looking after me every day, it's a magical combination. It's amazing. God is fantastic for that. Thank you all so very much for always watching and being supportive and looking after and loving all the stuff I do. Again, I just hope that what I've been able to do, what I've seen change in my life, health-wise, as well as spiritually and mentally and emotionally, God is amazing. And this is the stuff that's helping me incredibly, and I hope it helps you guys. I figure, might as well give it a try. Why not? What can you lose, right? Other than maybe some unwanted extra body fat and water weight, and get some range of motion back, get some mobility back in your life. Who knows? It could help you as well. Thank you so much for your support, everybody. I appreciate your patience. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I know it's a longer one, but I hope this will give you some food for thought. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.